The RTX 50 series is going to be more power efficient, Windows fixes Ryzen, and the RX 8000 got benchmarked for the first time. It's not great. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news that I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Tuesday, August 27th, 2024. We're going to start off today talking about details coming out from China about the upcoming RTX 50 launch, specifically with the laptop versions of these GPUs. We're finding out details from some of the laptop manufacturers that the RTX 50 series cards are going to have significantly lower TGP, or total graphics power. The RTX 5060, but also potentially 5070 are supposed to be dropping from 140 watts on the TGP all the way down to 115 watts while also getting 8 gigabytes of GDDR7 VRAM. This is not necessarily something unprecedented that the 70 and 60 class cards on mobile have the same TGP. It apparently is the same way for the 4060 and 4070 currently, but going down from 140 watts to 115 watts, especially if the performance increases. Hopefully the 5060 is somewhere around a 4070 in terms of performance. That would be fantastic, although that might just be a little bit of naive optimism there. But regardless, if it's at all faster while also dropping the power requirements by about 25 watts, that could potentially mean that we start to see it in smaller form factor notebooks. Things that used to only take a 4050 might now start taking a 4060. Obviously, this is just focusing on one section of the RTX 50 series. We are expecting that the GPUs are going to be big, beefy, power-hungry monsters, and in case you're looking to spice your PC up with an upgrade for one of that, you should check out today's video sponsor, Silverstone, and their GB01 GPU support bracket. With it being designed to be used in almost any tower case, the GB01 holds your card steady with padded clamps attached to an adjustable mounting system. The GB01 features a simple and sleek design that's equally as easy to use, with just 2 thumb screws to set the clamp in place. You attach the included adhesive pads to further ensure your card's stability, and it's available in both black and white, meaning that you have options to seamlessly integrate them into your build. You can say goodbye to your sad, saggy card and say hello to the GB01 from Silverstone, the GPU support bracket. You can find it at the link in the video description. Big thank you to Silverstone for sponsoring today's video and supporting your graphics card. It's in white. We put it in a white build recently. I had to take it out specifically to do this ad spot, but it's going right back in there. And AI is what's going right back into Apple's iPhones, and now we have the details on when the iPhone event is supposed to be taking place. The iPhone 16 lineup is going to be debuted on September 19th, with Apple saying that it's glow time, specifically referring to the glow animation that happens with the new artificial intelligence, or excuse me, Apple Intelligence Siri that's integrated on the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. You can see the ring around there. One of the things that we are expecting is that the iPhone 16 series will have a RAM upgrade to be at least a minimum of 8 gigabytes all around, so that they can support the large language models or small language models that Apple is running natively on their phones. This is one of the reasons we talked about in yesterday's episode of Hot News that the M4 Max are expected to go up to a minimum of 16 gigabytes of RAM because, again, of the large language model support, to make sure that they can store all of this and run all of the LLMs and Apple Intelligence models that they want. And speaking of things that are launching soon, the Lenovo Legion Go launched almost a year ago, and now Lenovo is ready to launch accessories for this handheld. I love the Legion Go. It does some really cool things in the handheld world. We've checked out the Steam Deck OLED and the ROG Ally, and those are cool for the traditional handheld, but the Legion Go, with its like mouse sensor and joystick combo and a big size, it's a nice little handheld. And now you can get a couple things to help with that. A dock, some little nibs to put on top of your joysticks, a little controller attachment so that you can play the games outside but have them together, something that has been missing for nearly 11 months, and then a bigger case that can fit everything else, including the dock and charger and all of that. So they're not going to be cheap. $65 for the dock, $50 for the wedge-shaped charging connector, which does have a battery baked into it, and $10 for the swappable joystick tops, and $30 for that carry case. A little too late, almost. It's a strange thing that they're doing here. The Legion Go has a lot going for it. 144 hertz refresh rate over the 120 that you find on the ROG Ally or Ally X. It's been a good offering since it came out, but I can't help but feel a year later, you're just now getting to the controller accessory, that felt like it should have been ready at launch. I don't know. And we'll see if Reece is ready to give you the deals today.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. And let's just jump straight into the deals today, starting off with this NZXT H7 Elite ATX mid-tower case, available for only $99.99, making it $80 off. But then next up, we have this gorgeous KTC 27-inch 1440p 240Hz OLED gaming monitor that you can pick up for only $549.99 with a coupon applied, making it $150 off. And then lastly, if you want to stay OLED but go bigger, you can grab the LG B4 48-inch 4K 120Hz smart TV for only $749.99, making it 50% off. I am currently on the LG OLED train and I don't see myself getting off, but hey, them's the deals. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I'm gonna hand you off back to Brett for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, it turns out that people who bought Ryzen 9000 and 7000 are getting a good deal thanks to Microsoft. A Windows update doing some good. Windows 11 24H2, the latest patch as tested by a bunch of different outlets like Hardware Unbox or Kit Guru, finding out that yes, indeed, the 9700X and the 7700X have increased performance to the tune of up to 36% in some games. It could be a massive improvement, and it actually makes it so that the 9700X performs better in comparison to the 7700X. So both of the CPUs got improvements, but the 9700X went a little bit further. Now, this doesn't necessarily account for all of the missing performance that reviewers couldn't seem to find on the 9700X when it came out, but it does at least bolster the case, especially with this latest Windows update, that things are okay. Additionally, it was found by Hardware Unbox with the 14600K. There are a couple of gains that are happening on Intel's side of things as well with this latest update. In case you're not familiar with what's going on, there was some weirdness going on with the Ryzen 9000 numbers. AMD said, hey, you're not running that in elevated administrator privileges. And reviewers like, why would we do that? That's terrible for security. And then AMD was like, we should probably get this patched out of Windows, to which now that is happening. So things are getting better all around, but it does appear to be improving performance for everybody across the board, but also specifically for Ryzen 9000, making them perform just a little bit better, which we're gonna hope that happens to the RX 8000 series RDNA 4 GPUs, because the first benchmarks of these GPUs has hit the scene. And as I like to talk about it when it comes to GPU rumors for upcoming graphics cards, it's kind of like a hurricane forecast, right? We have the winds now coming off the top of Africa, they're gonna form in the Atlantic, and then we're gonna prognosticate where they're gonna make landfall whenever it gets around to the US, to make it very US centric, because I am in America. We've got the wind and we've got some sort of formation going out in the Atlantic Ocean, and that's happening in the form of the GFX 1201 GPU. This graphics card having 56 compute units, 3,584 stream processors, and 16 gigabytes of what appears to be GDDR6 memory, not 7 like we're expecting to see on the RTX 50 series graphics cards. But the numbers on this make it seem like it's probably somewhere in the RX 7800 region, between the 7700 XT and the 7800 XT, but on the new generation of architecture. And these numbers are just not worth paying attention to because they are so abysmally bad. They are in line with the 780M integrated GPU, or a GTX 1650. These numbers coming out of the Geekbench 6 OpenCL score are laughably awful. This card was running only at 2.1 gigahertz, which is significantly slower than what we see on the RX 7000 series. Could this be an integrated GPU? Possibly, not very likely. It could just be that this was a engineering sample, maybe for a mobile graphics card, maybe for a desktop one, but it's just showing that they're being tested. There's a lot of improvement that needs to happen here. All of the numbers for this coming nowhere near what the 7800 XT can do right now. So don't necessarily be worried that AMD is not going to compete with what they currently have out on the market. They still got a little while to refactor, reformulate, and this is just the start of it. This is just the whisperings of RDNA 4 RX 8000. It's going to hit the market hopefully sometime early next year. That's what we want to see. And I want to see your comments. So I'm going to respond to what you said in yesterday's episode of Hot News. We got Magma Chicken saying 200 watts is enough, thanks. No, I want more. I want bigger, beefier GPUs. 4070 is great. I love the 4070 at the 220 watts, but I still want higher. I want it to go up. Games Tech say, so now we live in a world where Intel makes the budget laptops. They've always done that. Celerons exist. I mean, i3s exist. AMD's been terrible at budget stuff. This is not, who do you think's been competing with Apple? It's not been AMD. It's not been Qualcomm. It's been, there's nothing like funny about it. It's like nothing's changed. Nothing's really humorous here, right? Like Intel has been the budget choice. When we say Apple's too expensive, who are we comparing them to? Intel. Intel. And then game over, saying Brett getting stumped by System of a Down lyrics is one of the funnier reactions I've seen from him lately. Vicinity of Obscenity is the song, by the way. I had no idea. I'm not a huge System of a Down fan. I know some of their hits. I do not thoroughly enjoy their music from what I've listened to beyond trying to listen to some of their records. Just doesn't vibe with me. And it's great that you guys enjoy it and you can stump me with your usernames. And then Sorry Pop saying, did you see the latest Windows update improving Ryzen performance in some games by up to 30%? You stumped me. I didn't. I had no idea that happened. Also, it happened after Hot News was filmed. So, you know, we just catch it in the next one. It's always breaking news will happen tomorrow. No rat race here. I'm done with today's hot news. We'll be back with more of the hottest tech news for you tomorrow, my friends. Goodbye.